Imagine stepping into a place where time feels frozen. The cold isn't just around you, it seeps deep into your bones. Faint whispers echo off the walls. Each creak beneath your feet feels like a warning, and unseen eyes seem to follow your every move. In this abandoned space, the past clings tightly, refusing to let go. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to explore 5 of the most haunted abandoned places in the world. Across the globe, there are places that have long been abandoned. But some of these forgotten structures aren't just filled with dust and silence. They are said to be haunted by lingering spirits, terrifying apparitions, and unsettling energies that make even the bravest soul think twice before entering. 1. Castle of Good Hope, Cape Town, South Africa. The Castle of Good Hope is one of the oldest colonial buildings in South Africa and is always linked with a haunting atmosphere and ghostly legends. Built in 1666 by Dutch settlers in Cape Town, these thick stone walls have witnessed so many centuries of military strategy, torture, and death that there is a legacy of fear and unexplained phenomena. There is one of the spirits, however, who is thought to be really infamous. They are thinking of her as Lady in Grey. She appears to glide silently through the poorly lit passages of the castle now. At least her face will be shrouded within a hood, and the clasped hands are very much like in prayer. The ones who encounter her report experiencing an odd blend of fear and sorrow with this so characteristic perfume of lavender that comes behind her. Origins for the Lady in Grey are unknown, but one claims she may well be linked with an old, long-buried grave that emerged on the estate many years ago. Her ghost was often seen and heard weeping pitifully late at night, and even the gruffest of the guardians would feel a chill run down their spines. Another disturbed spirit still ranging the fort is that of Governor Peter Gisbert van Noot, a wicked man who had darkly come to his end in 1728. He had condemned 7 soldiers to death as deserters. It was on the day he did this that mysterious cause had found him dead in his chambers, his face contorted in such expression of pure terror that one could easily think that he had seen something that made him understand beyond the reach of human beings. Legend has it that he was executed by God for cursing him at the time of his death, and ever since then, his spirit has roamed the place, pacing angrily near the execution grounds. The feeling with his presence is overwhelming dread, and people even claim to have been watched or suffocated in the place where he once ruled. But even stranger still, a bell tower which has not had a bell within it for centuries yet rings out spasmodically. This ghostly tolling is said to be the tragic tale of a guard who, having become distraught within the bell tower many years ago, hanged himself there. Even though the bell itself had been removed, its haunting toll has been heard ringing out through the castle grounds at night when the wind is still and left the people who chance to hear it shaken. Cold spots, shadowy figures, disembodied footsteps, and the feeling of being touched or pulled are common experiences for visitors and staff alike. The dark past of the Castle of Good Hope seems to have seeped into its very walls, trapping the spirits there. It remains a place where history would not stay buried, and the ghosts of those who fell still roam the echoing halls of this old castle. 2. Kolmanskop, Namibia. Kolmanskop is a desert town of Namibia, which was once the great and fruitful center for diamond mining. Early 1900s saw settlers flocking into this town with all hopes to rich it as if a gold rush. Kolmanskop blossomed for some time with elegant mansions, grand ballrooms, a hospital, even a casino. But by the 1950s, the diamonds began to exhaust, and the town became deserted, emptied, and abandoned, with an eerie skeleton of its former glory. Meanwhile, the desert sands reclaimed the town and whispered stories of strange happenings in and out. So most believe that ghostly reputation of Kolmanskop is indeed because of the restless spirits that are still staying there. Visitors have had disturbing encounters, shadows flitting through the abandoned houses as if something unseen is watching. Footsteps echo down the cold, empty corridors, yet no one seems to be around. At dead of night, on the wind, whispers surface so faint and disembodied that one cannot even identify the source. It is said that it is the ghosts of miners who died in the desert, but cannot be freed by their relentless search for riches. The scarier tales would be those about an overseer known to be as brutal to the workers as he is. Supposedly, his ghost roams the grand ballroom where the richest among Kolmanskop danced and feasted once. Many reported feeling overwhelmed with dread every time they stepped into the ballroom, and the air became heavy and thick. There are those who say that his shadow has been seen reflected in the grand mirrors still left along the walls, but upon turning to see, no one is there. Others felt themselves being pushed out of a room like unwanted intruders into a long-forgotten place. Perhaps it is the haunted sounds of Kolmanskop that make shivers down one's spine. If no miners have lived to tell the tale, then their pickaxes still strike stone, sometimes faintly clinking in the still air. The wind whistling through the cracked windows is often mistaken for the cries of those who met their untimely death in the unforgiving desert. Even as it decays, Kolmanskop doesn't stay silent. This once vibrant town now stands as testament to the side of greed and hardship for the diamond rush. It is rather a place where time is frozen in one kind of sense. Here in the desert, where the desert doesn't just reclaim the land, but also puts people into captivation and holds them captive because they never left. Not seldom do visitors leave Kolmanskop with the haunting feeling that they take with them long after they are gone, as if the desert would not let the spirit go. 3. Poveglia Island, Italy. Poveglia Island, a small piece of land in the Venetian lagoon, is often called one of the most haunted places in the world. The history has been dark for centuries, giving it a nickname, the Island of No Return. It is said that over 160,000 plague victims were buried here, their bodies stacked in mass graves or burned alive to prevent the plague from spreading. Poveglia's dark past did not end there, as the island was turned into a lunatic asylum in the 1920s where dark tales of unethical experiments and savage treatments prevailed. Patients would scream in the dead of night, claiming to see the restless spirits of plague victims. The head doctor, who performed horrific lobotomies, was said to have been driven mad by those very same ghosts. Legend says he went out one day and flung himself from the hospital tower, but others believe something more darker than madness drove him. Poveglia remains abandoned to this day, but the island is never empty. Locals and adventurers seem reckless enough to venture into the island. Some visitors will hear faint cries for plague victims echoing across the wind. Others talk about feeling the unmistakable urge of unseen eyes watching them. Perhaps the most disturbing of the locations is the asylum itself. Even though the property stands in ruins, its oppressive mood remains. People say they can recall an overpowering sense of terror as they stepped inside. Disembodied screams reverberate down empty corridors for some people, and hands reaching out to them in the dark for others, although no one was there. One more notorious location is the bell tower. It is where the doctor received his death. Even though the bell no longer exists, for dozens of years, people can hear sounds similar to ringing. People may have heard stories that a figure appears at the top of the tower as they roam the island. The tragic and fearful history of Poveglia still clings, a place where the past will not lie down. The spirit of victims who died from plague and patients who perished in asylums seems still to cling on, forever tied to the island. Those who leave often report a relieving sense of calmness as they sail away from the clutches of something really dark, though haunting memories of Poveglia have been known to trail long after leaving their shores. 4. Eastern State Penitentiary, Philadelphia, United States of America. The Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia was once America's most feared prison, known not only for its revolutionary design, but also for the chilling stories of those who remained trapped within its walls. Built in 1829, the prison pioneered solitary confinement, and prisoners were kept locked up nearly 23 hours a day. The jailer tortured the prisoners so brutally that most of the inmates lost their minds, and the souls were supposed to haunt the ruined cell blocks till this day. During its years of operation, the penitentiary house possessed some of the country's most dangerous criminals, including Al Capone. But it was not the living inmates that haunted the prison. The visitors, guards, and even prisoners testified that they heard eerie sounds among the halls. Sometimes footsteps when no one around, sometimes a mere whisper, and in more cases, the metallic clang of doors opening and closing. One of the most well-known parts is the cell block 12. Here, people hear agonizing screams and laughter more than often. Some claim to see shadowy figures darting between cells only to disappear just as fast as they appeared. The reputation of cell block 4 features icy cold spots, almost faint, disembodied voices. Some visitors go away with a crushing sense of despair, as though the suffering of former inmates had somehow seeped into the stone itself. Details of the atrocities done during the worst days of the prison are found in far more gruesome detail. When prisoners had gone mad from isolation, they would scratch at their skin or pound their heads against the stone walls. Others said they were being tortured by mysterious devils, while some envisioned the prison itself as doomed to hell. Most prisoners died in their cells, and it is said that their spirits linger in the prison to this day. Perhaps the most frightening legend around prisons is one of a guard who disappeared overnight while escorting the cell blocks. Never to be seen again, his ghost walks the prison corridors. This was closed in 1971. However, the image of this place as being one of the most haunted places in the United States lives to this day. Paranormal investigators and those who go there seeking thrills often return with chilling tales. Some people hear clinking chains or feel a creeping sense of being watched, while others feel cold hands brush across them in the darkness. Once meant for reform, Eastern State Penitentiary now appears to jail the very souls that it was attempted to be broken. Visitors who are daring enough to enter its crumbling walls often leave with an unsettling feeling that something or somebody escorted them home. 5. Hotel del Salto, Colombia. The Hotel del Salto is constructed at the cliff edge in the Tequendama Falls in Colombia, where tragedy and beauty were intertwined in a haunting reputation that sets it one of the most mysterious abandoned places in South America. Built in 1928, the hotel was first an elite retreat in Bogota with breathtaking views of the waterfall. But below its pleasant scenery lies a dark, eerie history. Long before it became a tourist attraction, Tequendama Falls was shrouded in death. Native legend speaks of the Muisca Indians who plunged to death when they were being captured by the Spanish soldiers. It became infamous as a haunt for suicides. It wasn't long before unexplained phenomena began occurring in the hotel itself. After the hotel had remained closed in the 1990s, decaying and abandoned, the former glorification in those once grand halls became a scaring set for paranormal activities. Visitors have been known to hear whispering in the rooms. Some people claim to see shadowy apparitions huddled in the corridors as they move towards the edge of the cliff. The phantom footsteps that echo throughout the building have scared many. Tales of a disturbing legend are famous about the woman in white, who stands on the edge of the cliff, looking out into the waterfall with a forlorn expression before disappearing into the mist. There are also claims that she was the spirit of a heartbroken bride who, when her lover deserted her, ended her life by plunging over the falls. Her presence is said to be very heavy and sorrowful on the hotel. The atmosphere within the hotel is said to be heavy with oppression of fear. Chill spots and the sense of being watched have been experienced both by guests and those visiting the hotel. Others said they could hear faint cries or screams, which makes it even creepier. The tragic history associated with the falls and the mysterious series of events within the hotel has made lots of people believe that the fallen souls are still haunting the Hotel del Salto. Since it has been renovated, the building is now a museum with a dark history that continues to exist. In fact, it remains a place where the line between the living and the dead remains disturbingly thin. For any visitor to this place, they leave with the unsettling feeling that the spirits of the past can never be far behind. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more creepy stories. Which of these stories gave you a chilling experience? Let us know. Until next time, stay curious, stay safe, and remember, sometimes the scariest stories are the ones that are real.